one of my absolute favorite people from Kellogg. I can't sing her praises enough. I know being very impressed having met Lisa in quarter 1 of 2020, and we know it transpired shortly thereafter. Now living back in the US in the tri-state area in New Jersey today. Lisa, how are you? Thanks for joining me.
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Mike. I'm looking forward to this as well.
We were just talking about it in the kind of the pregame where in cohort 122, a few people, you guys dropped a little bit behind us and graduated 126, and just those memories were so incredibly fun, and I'm grateful to be connected with you. So thanks for spending a few minutes with me today.
No, I appreciate it. And we definitely, even though we graduated a little bit later, some of the fondest memories I have were with 122, especially that launch week. So we had a
Yeah,
great time.
I was like, what kind of mistake did I make
Exactly.
during that launch week? And we'll have to come back to that because I know we did a rent the runway case, and now that's where you are
Yeah.
today. Your background, I need to shut up because I want to give as much time as I can to your background. Can you just give me kind of the brief overview of the Lisa Drew career arc?
Absolutely. So for me, leaving out of high school, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. So joined the Army because it was one of those things where I knew I could build a great background job skill set and get some educational funding while I'm also able to help people. So it just felt like a really great career path for me. I was also athletic, so that helped. From there, I knew that the military wasn't always going to be for me. I kind of wanted to ask more questions, very curious. So I followed that curiosity all the way through my career, and opportunities as they came to me. And the next journey I took was as a contractor with Kellogg Brown and Root going to Iraq. I was there for about 5 years doing everything from operations management to constructing new warehouses for embassy bases. And there was just a lot of great opportunity to be really scrappy and inventive with limited resources around me. I knew that living in Iraq wasn't going to be sustainable for me. So came back to Minnesota, where I'm from, born and raised. Actually found what I kind of wanted to do from an educational standpoint. So I did my 4-year degree in 2 years with the University of Minnesota. Saved the other 2 years of my GI Bill so that I could use it for my MBA one day, and then started at Target US, and entered in and said, how can I try my experience in a corporate setting versus this government background that I had, so I can continue to build upon this career trajectory that I have in operations and construction. Started out as an operations manager, moved into construction project management with Target, doing a ton of different enterprise projects, mainly in grocery, in a lot of the company spaces, so grocery pickup, the refrigeration, the elevation and the branding changes that you see in Target today. I had a small part to play in all of that, which was really exciting and kind of gave me a little bit more of a strategic view of what goes behind construction and design. And then I moved back into the best of both worlds, which was launching new warehouses for Target. When I was at Target, I actually started my executive MBA then at Kellogg, which is where we met. That's where I used the remainder of my GI Bill as well. So lucky
I didn't know
that I
that.
had that
That's
support. Yeah.
so smart. So smart.
I like school is expensive, right? And
Yeah.
so unless it's going to give you those returns, like it just didn't seem like as valuable to me from the background that I came from,
Yeah.
first generation college student, right? So for my parents, like college wasn't something that they really pushed me to do. They just always pushed me to explore my curiosity and just be a good person in general. Like just be a good person, right? Is like their expectation for
Check those
me.
boxes.
So then Kellogg was an international experience, right? And I loved the low ego, high impact. It really fell in line with my internal values and like where I wanted to go. And the group of people that I just met when I went to kind of do that introductory exploration of the program, they were the people I saw myself wanting to work with. These are the kind of people that I want to work alongside of, so this is where I want to go study. And it's an international program again, and I've always wanted to work internationally again, not in Iraq, but so like somewhere in Europe. Like my partner is actually an Australian citizen, so I was exploring both Europe and Australia as a
Okay.
result. And so ended up being able to join Kmart Group. They are not the same thing as the Kmart US. There's a conglomerate called West Farmers that actually own the branding rights to Target and Kmart. And so Kmart Group actually owns all of the stores for Target and Kmart in Australia and New Zealand. And
Interesting.
so it's completely different. So it's funny that I worked from Target US to Target Australia, and it just kind of came full circle there. But was able to lead a consulting engagement in the exploration of merging the two operating models of Kmart and Target, looking at an underutilized and overutilized supply chains. And so, like, again, just building upon all of this like fun, how do I look at the same problem in many different types of ways. So it's always just kind of been about following my passion, like being able to find a problem that I haven't yet encountered and how would I solve that and how would I approach that. And then with family being so far away, it was a 16-hour flight just from Sydney to LA, and then another. So like, as you can imagine, then the additional leg to get to Minnesota, we were doing that about every probably quarter. I was coming back to the US until Mike could come to Australia. And after 2 years of doing that and waiting, we couldn't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
found this job with Rent the Runway, which, gosh, we did that as a Harvard Business Review study. The reverse logistics of it all is just such an interesting company. I've been a customer in the past and really loved the mission statement of it, the sustainability of the company, the affordability and making a luxury item affordable for a lot of people who generally couldn't. So I loved the purpose of the company, the values of the company, and found myself here with the same type of job, and now Senior Director of Operations Engineering and Support, which covers their facilities management, their operations engineering team, garment sciences, and their safety and security team. So just been a wild ride to get here, and I find myself so fortunate to be able to travel to get to this point and get both this career kind of journey, but also travel around with it all over.
The humility just like radiates off of you. And I just had this memory when you're talking about standing up these distribution centers. When I visited you at the Target distribution center that you guys opened in Cicero, and that's when I got connected to the Constructor Reach team, and just to see the impact that you've made. There's so much happening in the world today with AI, with the cost of education, like you just talked about. And I remember us talking about where you're going to go to Kellogg or Carlson and weighing the pros and cons. But now, kind of today, with the backdrop of what's going on, where you think the future is going to go, what kind of advice would you give to a 17, 18-year-old Indian high school and thinking about what that next chapter is going to be for them?
Yeah, I mean, I just shared like a very non-traditional route to like getting to where I am, right? I think at the time when I was leaving high school, it was very clear for a lot of people, you go from high school, you go to college, you find your white collar job, and that's the normal career trajectory. That's the normal career path. I was never a normal kid. So like I was okay with going against those and just kind of doing what I thought was what made most sense to me. And I think that would be some of the advice that I would give to people. Like, don't just follow what society is telling you. When I read some of the articles today, they're actually saying that electricians, plumbers, are they going to be the new future millionaires, right? Because these are the things that you really couldn't replace with AI. Like, and when we were talking even in our pregame a little bit about some of like the private equity and things like that, I think they're recognizing these trades and these smaller companies of people who have built this entire company starting out as a trade and then like building their own small business and their portfolio of clients, like that is becoming more valuable. So again, that traditional route that has been previously portrayed to high school students of go to college, look at college, yes, that is one route, but just know that it is an honorable way to do something that you enjoy and build something tangible with your hands. Because I find electricians and plumbing and all of these different trade routes to be so incredibly valuable, and the experience that they bring to my world today, I mean, are just incredible. I'm trying to look for leaders today who have that experience and have crossed over into more of a, I would like to take a leadership role and really teach people, because that's what leadership is, right? Like you're really being in service and you're just teaching others how to problem solve at scale.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I would recommend is like explore your passions, explore your curiosity, and there is no one right answer. So just follow
Yeah.
what feels right to you and what seems right for the position that you're in.
Yeah. I, I totally agree with you. The exploration is the really important part, right? It's like it's trial and error. It's go out there, see what you have a calling for, and you start thinking about some of the skill set, like your background as an engineer in operations, but having taken the finance and accounting and all this stuff, like you can think about that type of skill set stepping into these small, mid-sized service businesses and just being able to step change from a professionalization standpoint, right? Like being able to bring their system out of pen and paper or Microsoft Excel into a system that makes things easier to allow technicians to provide better customer service and those other elements that like that's where I want to spend my career. And I think it's just going to continue to become more and more interesting and exciting to folks as, to your point, I pick up the Wall Street Journal every day for the last week, and it's tens of thousands of white collar jobs are being wiped out. And we're still very early innings in AI from my perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think they're just at the cusp of AI. And so to prove out some of that stuff won't be fully realized for a few years. So really where you go in the trajectory of the future is kind of this AI scope or this trade scope, to be honest. The things in
Yeah,
between are the really uncertain things at the moment.
totally. Well, how, given that you talked about leadership and being of service and servant leadership and those things, I love asking this question, especially someone that's their corporate route, their career has already far exceeded their years. So someone you've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. How do you want to be thought of by your teammates and those you work with? Like, how do you want people to just kind of think about you and the legacy that you're building?
Yeah, you know, this is a tough one because what I usually tell my team is if I'm doing my job right, that they'll always say I'm fair. So that I was fair. Because in the position that I'm in, it's generally about building things for many different intersections. So like operations is asking for something and maybe the inventory team is asking for something else. And I have to build a solution that works for everyone. And sometimes that means it's probably not the ideal solution for everyone. So how do I listen to everyone and come up with the best solution that will service us in the business going forward? So like I have to be incredibly fair to do that, but I also have to be curious and transparent. And so I do it with intention. And so like I would say intentional, curious, and visionary. Like those would be the things that I hope surpass me, that people say that I inspired them through like this future forward thinking, that I could kind of help build and problem solve for them, and that I always came across as fair. Like
Yeah, I
I
love
think
that.
that's what it'd be.
I've not gotten a chance to work directly with you a lot, but from my perspective, you definitely check those boxes. How about, I mean, you're obviously someone, again, the military background, the academic pedigree that you have, the just tenacity which you attack all these things from a value standpoint, kind of just how do you, whether it's personal or professional or both, what's kind of one value that comes to mind when you think about kind of your guiding light, your North Star?
Yeah, I'd say integrity. Lead with integrity. If we are always honest, if we're transparent, and we're in service of this true purpose, I think like just lead with integrity. Do what is right, and sometimes what is right is not always what's best for you or your team, but it's in service of the mission. So like lead with integrity, lead with a strong sense of direction and values and steadfastness. Like if I truly believe in something and I believe in what is right, like this is the right thing to do, I will find a way to get it done. And even if that is not always like what might be the thing that will demonstrate that my team has done the best, right? But it's in service of the greater mission, the greater vision. And so like lead with integrity is what I would say. Like do what is right, because sometimes that can be a challenging thing to do.
Love that. I told you the time was going to go fast. This conversation over delivered on my expectations. I really appreciate it. I am president of your fan club. Super excited to hear everything that you're doing. Welcome back to the US. I know that was a fun experience in Australia, and you're glad to be back. But thank you for taking the time to meet with me, Lisa. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me. And the feeling is mutual, Mike. So thank you for having me.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.